Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back towards the competitive series. It's me and Heltic here today. I do have no sandbag, but of course, one of my favorite people is here with me. How are we doing today, Heltic? Um, Now, the thing is, right, I don't like to brag too much. Well, of course, it is a little bit of fun to brag. I'm a decently high ranked player. I've been diamond, masters, that sort of level. A lot of the people playing here today are around that silver, gold, platinum esque mark, and I've been able to coach them and teach them a little bit. All of them have just got back from work. So they are quite tired. So the level of gameplay isn't as high as what I want to show off as what I've coached, but there's a little bit in there for me to see how well these players will perform. And you said, of course, the players that we actually know. On the side of EdTech, we know four of these players super duper well. One of them is called Amos. That will hopefully be the AD carry. Vet, somebody who absolutely loves that Nocturne jungle. They also have, of course, Carry, somebody who I feel like you're a little bit more familiar with. A very Irish man, at least with his accent. And then George, a phenomenal Pike support.
Yeah, and we do look like we're going to be hopping into draft now in just a second, as I will get that up for you now in a second.
And I'm gonna be curious about what's going to be bad away, because the last time we watched these two teams go against each other, or at least Logitech, they're very much known for having a jungler who is brand new to the game, somebody who absolutely can only play that Amimi to a decent level and usually gets let through. So I'm going to be curious if that's going to be allowed. Maybe Paddy can finally play that Syndra again. We might be onto one of those AD carries like Siva. We might even see the AD carry coming out from EdTech. He absolutely loves that Draven, something that is very hard to execute, something when you are a little bit inebriated is even more difficult to execute, as I may have heard a few things behind the scenes on that.
Yeah, he's got to be trying his best here. But yeah, I was talking to a couple of guys before the game. Not surprised to see that Syndra banned out. They were really scared of Panny Syndra. He has been spamming it in these games as well. Like Sam, to be fair, Weeb and Panny have been. This is their third week now, substituting for this Logitech team. They're basically part of the core at this point. Like, yeah. And now that we're going to see, that Syndra finally get taken off the board for Panny, so we're going to have to see what he actually opts into here instead of it.
And I even like it more with these other bars because the Shen, very famous for the side of Logitech, wanted to pick it up. The Syndra, the Siva, both things we talked about, even the Pike. And I didn't get to mention earlier on, but Vet is fantastic on towards that Riven. Not knowing where he's going, of course, banning that away, making sure that he's not on that comfort. As Victor in the mid lane, going to get locked in, and the instant counter with that Galio is looking like EdTech are very much going for this brutally team fighting composition. Amumu is still up and available, so maybe Galio and Mumu, make sure you have those big team fight ultimates.
Now, I'm curious to see. So I believe it's I Can Learn Macro, yeah, who is on the jungle for today's match. And the Wukong, something that we've been talking about as well, like when we're watching these, Fnatic games in the LEC and stuff. This Wukong is so underrated, just in the meta at the moment. He is so strong. He's so good in these team fights. And of course, we're going to see Madness taking up that Amumu, which we've seen him pick up in all of the Logitech's games up until this point. It is his one champ, and he has been getting better and better at it as well. He has. Just a reminder to everyone at home, because of course the skill differentials of some of these players are quite high due to it is just the people you go to work with. Madness is quite new to League, but over the 3 games we've seen Logitech play so far, Madness has been getting better every time. So I'm curious to see how he plays into a roster that we've seen play scrims together, play customs together. So we'll have to see how well he can do.
Yeah, and that's the real enjoyable thing, because you get to be with the people that you know just around you. And with this player, something that I've been enjoying is just watching him grow, seeing him just improve more and more. And I can't wait to see him at the end of the season. Maybe we can see him reach one of the higher echelons of the skill ranks, getting towards the golds, maybe even higher than that if he keeps playing at this level. But when we're looking at both of these compositions, it's very clear that EdTech are wanted to play this front-to-back team fighting comp, with the Wukong and the Galio being the front line and the Xayah pumping out the damage damage in the backline. While on the opposite side, they're kind of doing the same thing with that Victor and that Amumu being front to back. But this Pantheon is the one I'm most interested on because it's fantastic in towards the Galio, but in towards that Wukong and the Xayah, it becomes a lot more difficult as you have to walk in towards those Xayah feathers that could pull them back and make it where you just get bursted.
Yeah, and now with the Rakan going to be taken off the board, so they can't get that Xayah Rakan. Followed up by the Teemo ban actually for Drank up towards that top side. I was thinking the Pantheon was probably going to be going either top or support here, but the Teemo is going to be taken off the board anyway. Nautilus also going to be taken away from Stake down in that bot side next to what I assume is I'm curious to see what they decide to go because he has been banned out here. He lost his Pike, he's lost his Nautilus. I'm curious if they end up going for like a Thresh or something here.
Nah, I don't see George picking up Thresh, but one champion. Oh, okay. I have to say something about George's Poppy. It is phenomenal. What he likes to go is instead of that healer blades, he likes to be a little bit more passive, get himself a little bit more armor with that aftershock. But it's so strong in this early game. You combo it up with the Xayah as well, stun into the wall, Xayah stun as well. Next thing you know, somebody's going to be dead on the enemy team. And that's what I'm concerned about is Logitech. How are they ever able to move in towards EDtech is playing if they're close enough? Because of that, they have decided to go for more of a ranged carry with the Varus, who can, of course, go for that lethality poke style. I don't think it's the strongest here. There's 3 tanks on towards the enemy team to go for. So I think it has to be that mainly hard engage composition. So with this Pantheon, we will decide where it's going to go. Of course, Logitech played it down towards the support 2 times in a row. So it is going to go there. Going to have that Mundo up top lane. And I don't mind the Mundo. It makes sense in towards... I don't know. The Mundo was a little much for me, but when I'm looking at both of these compositions, honestly, it's hard to call.
I mean, this Mundo is, flavor of the month champ, thanks to Alois. He is the build path for this champion is not balanced. He just builds only health items and can still run you down and deal 1 million damage. So I'm not surprised to see him come out here in this one. And I'm curious to see if he ends up actually going that build.
Now, with that Mundo build, the most important thing is you like to try and rush a Warmugs as fast as possible. But before you can do that, the reason you rush the Warmugs is at 1,200 extra HP. When you're out of combat for 4 seconds, you just heal back all of your HP. So you can go under their tower, take a tower plate, come back out, heal back up, and do it again and again and again. So, if he can reach that breakpoint without having many issues with Vet up towards the top lane of the Irelia, Mundo is going to be fine in the matchup. However, early on into the game, it is so difficult for Mundo to play. If Irelia stacks up her passive Q 4 times, those auto attacks start running, you're going to have a really difficult time up there. So far, EDtech very comfortable in the mid lane and that top lane matchup. Bot lane a little more difficult to try and execute because of that Varus. But overall, the more I'm looking at these compositions, I think EDtech is very strong in the early game. I'm just concerned if they get behind, if they actually have enough damage. As yes, Wukong and Galio deal some damage, but it still isn't the same as an Amumu in towards the late game, even just having a Varus Victor instead of that Xayah.
And when you look at it as well, the early Galio rotation actually ended up working out in EDtech's favor as well, with the amount of AP damage on the side of Logitech that they opted into. Of course, they knew, with the Victor first pick, they knew an Amumu was coming through. The Galio was always going to get value, but now that Mundo topside as well, got to just give that Galio a little bit of extra help, at least with that magic resistance, the passive magic resistance. I do think it's going to be difficult to get through this Mundo, and I do think we're probably going to see some priority on the Wukong towards this top side to try help out this Aurelia, because if they can get the Aurelia out of the early game, it can be very helpful later on when they're trying to hunt down this Varus, hunt down this Victor, and trying to just stay on top of them.
And that's my big concern is if EDtech doesn't find a lead early, or at least stay even with Logitech, nobody's going to first of all kill this Mundo. And more importantly, in this late game, I actually slightly favor the side of Logitech just because they do have those 2 major carries of the Victor and the Varus compared to just the Xayah with a mostly tanky Galio. We all know how much Poppy deals in the early game. It's not really as much in the late. So it's all down to if EDtech can find a lead. And yes, I think it will have to come towards that top lane. Help this Irelia become an absolute monster. She could start taking over this game.
Yeah, and that's for sure. But of course, we're not too far away from getting into our game number one. Who do you think? Who do you think? If you had to just look at the drafts as a whole, who do you think has won this draft?
For me, I feel like the four people we know have actually done a really good job here. I think EdTech have to take it for me. Top's winning out, mid lane's winning out, bot lane's in a very solid position. Panther can never play the game as you've got the Poppy W to stop it. If he tries to engage and hits it, just get Sire Feathers backwards, and it's so difficult to try and play. So one thing I would actually like to happen in the Logitech bot lane is to instead play for bot lane, actually play towards the mid lane. I think if you play towards your Victor, towards your Mundo, get them super far ahead, it becomes tricky because yes, there's so much lockdown on towards the right side on the red team. However, we get towards that late game. Can they actually find that big engage? Yes, Wukong has that Cyclone, but except for that, there's no major engage tools for that team.
Yes, and we're just waiting for the spectator to catch up for us so that we can hop into our game number, our game for this evening. But so far, these teams have been, at least when we've been watching this Logitech team, they've been getting better and better every week. Their last game with EdTech looked very, very close. So I'm curious to see how well they can navigate this one now with a slightly harder roster to play into.
And one positive thing as well is we, of course, know a few players from both of these teams, Panny and Weeb, the AD carry, and the mid laner. When they ever come back into a call with us, they're like, oh, they're proper right laughs. I had a great time over there. And I think that's the most important thing because they've been teaching Amimu how to play the game, literally telling him what to do in the first game. And they've said every single time, oh, he's getting better. Oh, we don't have to tell him what to do anymore. He's getting there. And that's really what I want to see today because they need to step up towards that next level. And if they don't, I think this, I don't want to say it, could be a blowout. I know how strong the bot lane 2 versus 2 with Amos and George can be. I know how Vet can be very strong on either that Irelia or, of course, the top laner who got banned away from him earlier. It's going to be hard, but the power of friendship has worked in many animes, and maybe it can work in this game today.
Yeah, it sure can. As we get onto the Rift for our game for the evening, Logitech versus EdTech X Stack. Now, the one thing that to keep in mind as well, as a complete side note, as we've been watching this Logitech team, I've played against this Logitech team, is they are not to be underestimated. Their communication and their map movements have actually in their games have been very clean and very they've been on very good timers, and that comes down to having the calls coming in from Panny and Weeb, the experienced players, but Stig's got to go for the flash. Doesn't manage to get the E into the wall though, so we'll just be burning the flash. Doesn't have Hex Flash on that Poppy, so we'll just be a net loss for the EdTech side to start off.
I'm upset with you, George. What you should have done is flashed over that wall instantly and eat them into the wall. Worst case, they flash out to safety, right? But still, there is a secondary thing that we know this bot lane loves to do on the side of EdTech. I've watched them for years upon years, and the best thing about them is their death rush. Towards this bot side, they're hiding into this bush, waiting for somebody to slightly overstep, and they're going to try and kill them. The only problem is they've done it so many times, and Weeb has been in every single solo queue game that they've done this, or sorry, custom game. No way he doesn't see this. Celtic, no way.
He's gonna, yeah, they're definitely gonna try, that's for sure. And
okay,
do they expect it? There goes the knock into the wall from Stake. Not lots of damage traded back over though, and George actually takes the worst part of that trade. Has to pop the pots immediately.
Yeah, it's because he went for the Halo Blades instead of the Aftershock. If he went Aftershock, would have been able to tank up most of that damage. He's been pretty healthy on the back of it. Fortunately, still has himself 2 HP pots and will get himself towards that high level. As you can already see again, they want to keep fighting. They want to be aggressive, so we have to keep our eyes towards this bot side. Even though I don't think there'll be much jungle attention down there, there will still be a lot of fighting.
Yeah, that's for sure. And early on, this Xayah Poppy gonna have pressure, especially when that Pantheon doesn't have that passive stacked up. Harry in that mid lane, just trading onto the Victor, but very annoying matchup early on until he gets to that level 3.
Yeah, both mid laners did a really good job of spotting out where their enemy junglers are. Both wards on the Raptor pip, so everybody knows Wukong's towards the top side, and Amimi is down towards the bot side. Amimi not very strong until that level 6 aim for the Wukong, so I don't expect many ganks to be coming out before then. So it mostly comes down towards these laners to make these plays, but instead...
Engage coming in, dash in from the Galio goes, and Wukong trying to get it flash away from the Victor, so no flash mid lane at 3 minutes in.
I feel like I cast a cursed Panny there. I thought it was completely safe in that mid lane, but 2-inch Prime did a fantastic job of keeping the wave just outside of his tower, Ian in and forcing that flash out of him. And even though he had a very weak early first couple of levels, now to turn this around.
Yeah, Prime with a great combo on the Galio to land the kill on towards Panny. That Galio gonna be very strong in this game.
And if you're a jungler, you are absolutely loving your laners there.
Great attack, great jump in onto the Xayah. We're gonna just chunk up as much of the damage onto them as he can. Charged Q from the Varus won't be able to finish them off, but I can learn macro is here. Wave is being, this is a big wave pushing into them as well. If they're not aware of this. Great stun onto the Wukong, but Weeb still falls.
Yes, they're going to be able to find themselves that kill. Was bad fair, almost finding that outplay towards the top side. If he was able to hit one more double Q there, would have been able to find that kill. But down towards the bot side, getting the kill on towards the Varus, even though Stakenut didn't have that flash. And this jungler is meant to farm towards level 6. You get that Cyclone, and that's when you're meant to unlock being able to gank people. But instead, he's completely said, I don't care about level 6. I'm getting my laners ahead. And he's done exactly that. With 2 kills in their pocket, they are now 600 gold up. Both the mid and the bot lane are in a very strong position.
Yeah, they sure are. And now as well, the Wukong just finishing up his first base. We'll be able to go back, grab that first component item. And like you said, he's just been on the ball in terms of these early game ganks. And I assume he's just going to continue that trend of just keep making sure that he can get these laners ahead. Like we said as we were building up to the start of this game, the lead is gone in EDtech's favor to start this one off, and that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, but we always have to remember Logitech does scale better if they can hold on, because they're not fully out of it just yet. It's only 5 minutes into the game. And more impressively is the jungler actually isn't down any CS. He's only down maybe 1, maybe 2 as mid lane.
Prime has been caught here. Taunt coming out from the Galio, lands onto the Pantheon, dash away, but stuck in the gravity well. Jump onto him from the Pantheon, and it will be a kill going back over to Logitech.
And no flash available from the earlier play when he killed out Panny. So a nice little roam there from the support of Logitech, picks up that kill and gets themselves getting that ball rolling. Like we said, mid and top lane is the win con from the side of Logitech, so any kills will be helping out, especially Panny, somebody who is absolutely no 40s control mages. He is so good at being able to use those leads and pushing them further and further, be up by either getting those tower plates or roaming around the map. As towards the bot side, we finally have a little reprieve of the actions. The wave will be pushed in towards the side of EDtech. I expect no major fights to be coming out and towards that level 6 marks comes through when Weeb has that ultimate available. Fortunately, the AD carry of Oh My God Cheese does have the cleanse, being able to stop that.
Yeah, Step House Presence going to be thrown up, but Galio ult available, going to be coming in now. Flash immediately away from the Varus. But of course, because of the Victor not being that mid lane, won't be losing anything for being able to just go for that ult down towards the bot lane.
Now it's 5 minutes where Weeb is available for Stakenut to find a pin in towards that wall and get themselves that kill. The question is, can they capitalize? Full wave stack towards the bot side. Dragon is available. Instead of looking for that dive, which could be sketchy, instead they are going to be opting to get that major objective. And 6 minutes into the game, they should be able to pick up the first dragon, which is going to be that Cloud Soul.
Yeah, up towards this top lane, a 10 CS lead over towards the Aurelia. Very well done from Vet here to be able to just start off this game so well.
All right, so I agree with you there. The only problem is Aurelia can literally never miss CS just by queuing it. So it's a little bit easier to farm on that champion than any other one.
I mean, still,
it's like playing Mouse.
Give him some credit. He hasn't completely just ran into the Mundo and ran it down, you know?
Yeah, early game is the hardest part for the Aurelia to play. I am a big fan of going for the Ignite up towards the top lane. You have TP in mid, so you don't have to worry about that. And with that Ignite in mid, you don't have to get healing reduction too early. Because if you take a fight, you're able to put that Ignite down, and the healing reduction should be able to do the job of what you would have been able to buy.
Combo coming in here for Vet. It lands the stun, but of course Mundo passive should be broken. Manages to grab the potion as well, so now Mundo won't be getting his passive back for another 20 seconds. Ultimate coming down from the Aurelia underneath the tower, and it's a massive combo coming in for Vet.
Oh, he flashes over the Q from Dracozy, so with that slow and not getting that heal, he gets taken out and will lose this whole wave under the towers. He has no teleport and maybe even tower plates on top of it. And this is the biggest thing you didn't want to happen if you're a Logitech fan. Mundo needs to find a lead, so he's unkillable in these team fights, but if Irelia keeps staying ahead of him, there will not come a point where that Mundo isn't going to be killable. As the longer the game goes, once Bad Vets gets 2 to 3 items, should be able to still deal with that Mundo.
Yeah, no TP for that towards that top lane either, so it's going to be a lot of minions being eaten by that tower. Plate goes over to the Aurelia, but back will be bait. Stops. Doesn't have any mana here, so needs to be a little careful. We can see the Victor now roaming up. Will be spotted on Vision. I Can Learn Macro is also here.
And no teleport available as well, so that is going to be a big blunder from Vet. We'll lose either a full tower plate or maybe even more as 3 members come up. They want to contest for these Void Grubs. With no top laner here is a very sketchy fight for EDtech.
Yeah, Poppy going to be channeling that ult. Not going to end up landing on towards anyone here as the fight begins to come in.
Yeah, they need to get themselves out here. Amumu trying to find a way around the side. If they can find one big ultimate, this could all change.
Yeah, Mumu on towards the backside. Gonna get knocked up by the Steadfast Presence. Gonna use the ultimate a bit late, but still manages to catch Stake. Now there's gonna be a massive kill going down. Galio will now available. Gonna go to help out 2-inch Prime. Or try to help out I Can Learn Macro, but and down towards the bot side, the 1v1 kill from Weave onto Amos. Fights here.
Yeah, they're going to be able to find the kill. Yeah, still fight towards the bot side. Mundo picking up 0. Irelia picking up 2. Void Grubs going up to the side of Logitech. And this all came down to the play we talked about earlier. Bad Vet found a great L play onto Cozy, but not finding that reset. And more importantly, EDtech not respecting that they're not there. Instead, they go for those Void Grubs 4 versus 3. And Min with that ultimate picks up a few kills in towards them. And EDtech had a substantial lead in the early game. However, now it's dead even between both of these teams as Bad Vet in the mid lane. See if they can find a kill onto Panny, but this might be a bit of wishful thinking. Septimus Soul here just to defend his mid laner.
Yeah, top lane TP'd back top, so not going to be able to respond to anything here. Gravity Well will stun them both up. Septimus doing a great job of just dissuading this mid push, but now the Mundo just soaking up so much up towards this top lane, and Vet's going to have to base.
And this is the big concern. If they put 2-inch Prime in towards that Mundo, that just seems absolutely abysmal. Galio never has the damage to get to him. As the teleport most likely going to be used up there. As towards the bot side, going to be able to get themselves 1 tower plate in towards their pocket. Nothing too much. And honestly, both of these teams very happy with how this early game's going, especially Logitech, because they do scale a little bit better because of Panny in that mid lane with a slight CS lead and almost has that first item completed.
Yeah, 2-inch Prime now just going to be, like you said, dealing with that Mundo, doing whatever he can, but actually has a decent amount of damage right now. As they are going for that Hollow Radiance first item. Now Bad Vet going for the combo on towards Panny, gonna get sucked up by the Gravity Well though. Big damage gonna come down. Chaos Storm on top, but here comes the counter from the Aurelia. Can they get him? He can, but has to be careful now for the Amumu.
Yeah, Panny thinking that the Q wasn't available from the Irelia so quickly. They go down and will lose those mid lane plays. I thought it was a silly idea for them to swap it, but you can find out plays like that. Maybe you should be lane swapping with everyone.
Yeah, the call ends up working in their favor, just getting more and more gold into that Aurelia's back pocket. Now 4-0 on it, going to be sitting on, has, you know, against both of the mid and top laners is up, you know, at like 1,000, 2,000 gold. So their plan has worked, but Stake not going to get caught in the bush by the Pantheon, taken down very low, and Septimus going to be able to blow him up before he can even get away.
Yeah, Poppy not having as much damage as before as the ultimate comes down, and 1 quick snipe. Logitech gets another kill towards the bot side. This is the problem with Xayah, very safe in the lane, not very strong in the 1v1 early. Savara's winning out in that play again, another kill towards them, and another kill over towards that support. And the first time in this game, Logitech have themselves that gold advantage with 300 in the pocket. And it truly feels like all of Logitech is winning out except for this top lane, as the Bad Vet with 4 kills in the pocket really needs to carry this team on their back. Otherwise, I'm not seeing a way that EdTech is winning any fights right now.
Yeah, but once we get into towards the team fight stage of this game, just look at what we have for the EdTech side. You know, you have that Galio to be able to peel for the Zaya. You have the Poppy. You have everything, and the Amumu going to be caught here. Weeb is available to try help, but knock up. Gotta be, Zaya's trying to get everything they can. The Ignite should take, and that's going to be another kill coming in. Septimus going to burn the ult, though. I Can Learn Macro got to be coming in to help here. Got to use that Cyclone. And on top of that, we're going to see the Galio ult as well. So it's 2 quick kills over towards the spot side. Weeb just trying to run for the hills. Will be able to scrape out alive for the time being. Doesn't have flash, doesn't have barrier. Already burned in this fight, and will just be chased down. Can they manage to catch him out? They will, but I think it's going to be a trade back. Oh, it is. It's
only ties to the tower. Such a close play from Logitech to find the kill there. No auto attack, no cigar, no kill. So what's the top lane? Jacuzzi, the only person winning out on these trades, getting 2 tower plates for them. And it all comes down to just Logitech overstepping. And Mimi wasn't in the right position. Just leave them to die and try to step out. But instead, because they overextended, they lose themselves a kill in the mid lane, 2 tower plates. They lose themselves a dragon as well. And more importantly, another 3 kills towards that bot side.
Amumu gonna be landing that bandage. Gonna burn the ult. Tries to buffer, I think, the Q ult, but doesn't manage to land it onto the Aurelia. So will just be able to walk away there. Aurelia now going to be able to go back towards this top side and match back into that Mundo. But now with, you know, Bork finished, it's going to be really hard for this Mundo to play in. But Mundo also has finished Swiftness Boots and that Warmogs, which is the start of this build that we've been seeing on the Mundo so far.
Yeah, as we're going to see Pani being able to defend themselves towards the mid lane. Great gravity well there. And I absolutely love that everybody knows that top lane is won by the tower taken. You may be 5-0. You may be very strong in the game. However, if you haven't taken the enemy tower and they've taken yours, I think Mundo's won top lane here.
Yeah, and as he, you know, next he's going to start getting Heartsteel. He's going to just become so tanky in this game, and it's really going to be up to the Aurelia and the Zaya to be able to just eventually, when they get, you know, get this, you know, tank shredding items to be able to get through this Mundo. And if he's left unchecked in these fights, it's going to be very scary.
Yeah, first items completed from everybody on the board except for the support. The Septimus Soul has found a good flank here.
Going to be knocked into the wall, though, by the Poppy, and we'll just be able to walk away. 2-inch Prime tries to find the dash onto Pani, but not be able to find it. Amumu is here to cover, and 2-inch Prime has to be careful because the wave is pushing away. Now going to be spotted, going to have to try to walk away. Q goes wide, and will be safe for time being.
Yeah, I saw a really cool play towards the bot lane there where Septimus Soul finds us on in towards Weeb's ultimate and they were able to find a kill. However, it hasn't happened just yet. Poppy doing a very good job of holding them off. Towards the top side, you talked about Bad Vet being pretty strong. I think we're seeing it here.
Yeah, that Ignite, like you said, just doing so much work, but the outplay from the
Mundo. The tower!
You have to
that's
respect
such a hard one.
You have to respect those Mundo Qs. I think people forget that how much they actually slow you when you're underneath towers like that. And gonna be a kill going over toward this Mundo. And yeah, it was a great attempt by Vet, but just went a bit too deep.
I don't even think it was respecting the Mundo Qs. It's respecting how much damage these towers take. It feels like he understands his team isn't winning out on the opposite side of the map, so he's trying to overforce become that main carry. And because of that, he makes a crucial mistake. Mundo gets himself a shutdown, most importantly, and pushes in this full wave. So yes, they will still win out on the 1v1, but it's going to be so much harder to try and get through that HP bar. So Logitech stabilizing pretty well. This bot lane still surviving for a decent amount of time as EdTech aren't even 1,000 gold up at this point. It's the only tower taken. It's still only that top one.
Yeah, and now just has to be, you know, have to be careful now because, like we said, this Mundo can get scary. There's a reason why this thing is so, like, running down people in solo queue, fountain diving people, and until it gets nerfed, you really have to respect it. So now with that kill and shutdown, gonna be able to actually get that Heartsteel online 16 minutes into the game. That's really early for this Mundo. And he will just begin to start just wanting to fist fight everyone so that he can start getting these stacks up, start getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And like I said, the longer it takes EdTech to be able to get these tank shred items, the harder this game is going to become.
And this is all because Irelia has tried to make plays around the map as well, and allowing the time for Drunkosi to get themselves back into the game. And this is the difficult part you have when you're trying to be the main carry of the team. You have to decide, do I keep this one person down and just win for myself, or do I try to let this person get back into the game, but trying to help my team to get a lead? And they tried to help the team, hasn't really succeeded much just yet, as everybody is around about even, as Pani with Flash should be able to get themselves out to safety and do so, as they finally get that mid lane tower, as it is going to be 1-for-1.
Yeah, they managed to get it. Now the Amumu are going to be caught out here. Pops the ult very early just to keep them in this fight. Septimus going to be coming in here. Galio ult goes up, but it's immediately cancelled by the gravity well. Zaya coming in here to try to clean something up, but there's no one left. The Amumu's still very low. Flash away. Q comes in from the ignite from the pop. He seals it. Vet trying to swap by, but he can't get the stun onto Paddy. Has the ultimate available. Will get stunned underneath the tower though. And it's a repeat of the top lane once again.
Poppy ejected one member of the team, but Logitech saving a really bad play. And it all comes down to when you have a name like Madness Maximus, you are going to be making those wacky plays. Overextension maybe, but maybe not. Septimus Soul and Pani saving that play, getting themselves those kills, and finding the play towards the spot side.
Yeah, TP channel coming down from the Mundo. Now just trying to space away. Look at the amount of autos this Zaya is having to put into this Mundo. Now ult has been popped though, so going to be using that Warmog's going to be using that ultimate to just get that health back up, and then they can just look for this tower, and that's the power that this Mundo holds.
And Stakenite even had that healing reduction, not at full strength Drunkosi, but he's still just surviving.
And now Wukong's here. Cyclone is available. Or Cyclone's not available, apologies. Smite gonna come down to try get it. Pani gonna be TPing in, but the Mundo finally dies. And that's gonna be a little bit of an overstep from Logitech. Gonna give them some more breathing room.
Adiki flew too close to the sun, tried to see how much Mundo can truly do in that 1 versus 5. With that ultimate on cooldown, he is very much killable. And with that, Dragon will be started by EDtech. Galio in range with the TP. Irelia, no teleport available. This will be a 4 versus 5 if Logitech want to take it. And I think they actually have a solid chance here.
Yeah, Maximus trying to find the angle for the steal. This Drake is not going down very fast as the Zaya is not hitting. So they're looking for this angle here. They have to be careful. There's littered rewards. The Dragon Pit tower will finally fall towards top. Smite comes down and it will just be taken by EDtech. Nice attempt by the Varus to steal that one.
I'm just curious about why they didn't take that major fight. We know Bad Fet's towards the top side, the strongest member of EDtech. You got Weave's ultimate, Septimus Soul could find an ult towards the backline. Pani even had it available. I think now's their best chance to try and find a way back into the game, because now EDtech, 3 dragons into their pocket. One more is going to be that Soul. As towards the top side, Bad Fet, not as strong as he was before. Drunkosi, 2 items in the pocket, can just walk this off.
Yeah, as long as there's no one there to back up the Mundo, they already can keep going, but is very aware that they can collapse onto Vet. So we'll just opt to walk away, which is the smart decision. Now, as we see the bot lanes now moving towards mid.
Yeah, ads can't available for both of these teams. Seems like EDtech are going to be setting up for this. The Bad Vet had enough with this side laning for now. We'll be headed towards this mid lane, trying to look for that 5v5 team fight. Level 11 available for Madness Maximus. That Amimu ultimate will start to sting in these major team fights if you can find it on a lot of members. The question is, can they do so? So far, EDtech pushing out mid, pushing out bot, trying to gain full vision of the enemy jungle before they even think of starting any major objectives. This is decent macro.
Macro now going to be pushing up towards this top side, and this is where the strength of this Mundo comes. Look at that damage from those Qs. And Vet going to get caught as well with the Chains of Corruption, but the Galio going to come in, but it's not going to be enough to be able to stop them. Dash back in from the Galio, just trying to get on top of Weeb as the Zaya is starting to come across, but again, it's just 1v1 fights into this 3-man unit from Logitech. Ult going to come out from the Zaya, manages to avoid the Amumu ult and will get out with their life.
Yeah, but panning towards this bot lane is going to be untouched for so long unless 2-inch Prime teleports in 20 seconds. But with that Rift Herald available in their pocket, that should just be 1 full tower towards their side as Snakenut ejecting Drunkosi out of that fight. And you were completely correct. EDtech were just not on the same page. You had 3 members going towards the top side to try and catch up the Mundo, while 2 members towards the bot lane trying to look for a fight. That's the first time I've seen this team not be on the same page.
Yeah, now this is mid tower with no demolish. Won't actually be procced, but Stake not going to be dead before the CP even gets fully channeled. Galio going to be back to be able to try to hold the tower for the time being, but with the Mundo demolish here, this should just be gone.
Yeah, you can see the demons inside of George's head there, wanting him to go in, and he does exactly that. Drunk Cozy does proc the ultimate, healing reduction.
Yeah, they're going to get onto this now. Mundo ult will be popped. No chase gonna come through anymore. And the big thing, like we mentioned earlier, the only anti-heal they have is on that Poppy and the Ignite as well, so from the Aurelia. So once that is burned, this Mundo is so happy to just walk away from the fight, wait for that HP to go back up with that Warbogs, and then come back for another fight afterwards.
Yeah, already got themselves a quarter towards that ultimate available. Give them an extra 60 seconds. That will be back up. Ignite takes 2 minutes 30 to be back up itself. So you have that 1 minute around about so you can go for those fights and not really worry about that Warmogs if the Poppy isn't there. Now, of course, Atacon hasn't been started up yet. Great vision on the side of Logitech to understand this. So all they need to do is just walk out here and don't take a fight.
They spotted out the Mundo in the bush there, so now they're just trying to push up, trying to set up for this Drake in a minute 20. They were looking for a pick, but good reaction from Logitech to just send the entire team to clear out that jungle, push them away so that they can't get picked off. And now we're again just going to be setting up for these objectives. We can see Vet now heading towards that top side. I believe they're just going to try to proxy that top wave, slow down that push, and then still be within range to be able to move over for this Drake fight.
And there's a very curious thing that has happened. Take a look at what Panny has built. He got himself the Blackfire Torch, the first item you buy on towards Victor, but instead of going for maybe a Leandri's, maybe anything else that deals a lot of AP damage, they've had to get themselves, of course, that item, Seeker's Arm Guard. The reason for that is it allows you to stay a little bit more defensively sound, allows you to go in towards that Zhonya's. I'm not actually a big fan of it. I think that, yes, it keeps you safer in these team fights, but if you're already going in Zhonya's in towards the enemy team, I think you are just dead. And without that huge amount of damage injection Logitech needs, they aren't able to actually take any fights at this point. So EDtech just trying to steal this away as no vision is on it on the side of Logitech.
Yeah, big spot from Vet here. Push towards that top side, completely just pulled them away. And then they're going to sneak this Atacon, which is huge. The resistances are still coming back here, so they just need to be a little careful.
Going to be able to steal themselves the Atacon for free. Dragon will be started up. This is going to be so if EDtech can take it. Logitech need to do everything in their power to stop this.
Mundo's TP is available. The Aurelia is there to be able to stop it if they haven't popped that potion off yet. It could be bad here. Fight's going to come in. Dash in from the Galio. Will land onto the Mundo. The Amumu ult's going to be all just onto the Galio for the time being. But in the backside, there comes the Galio ult. It's going to be going back onto the other side of the Logitech fight. But the fight is just so split. They can't get the damage down onto this Varus. And the empowered Q from the Varus doing so much work.
Yeah, and I think it was a good idea not to keep Mundo in the fight. The ultimate's coming down. Can he find the kill? One Q needs to land, and with a flash away, oh my god, Cheese will get himself out to safety. And Logitech, they did it. They stopped the Dragon from going over towards the side of EDtech, and they have another 5 minutes to withstand and look for that outplay. And if we could have had a replay of that, it was really going to be the story of Weave being untouched in towards the back line. He's gone for, of course, that auto-attack based build. He has the Rage Blade, he has that Bork, and with those two items, you can absolutely shred through these major carries of Stake Nut, 2-inch Prime, and of course, I Can Learn Macro.
Yeah, and that was just a perfect fight for the Varus, just being able to stay away, have their, the fight was so split that he never really came under threat. We saw I Can Learn Macro off to the side trying to fight one member. We saw the Galio trying to hold off the rest of the team while the Varus was just able to just continue to just hit for free. Stakeno now going to cut off Gravity Well, will be able to dash away from it, but will be stunned up and followed up by Septimus and the Varus. The grouping here now, and the Mundo going to flash in, going to land the Q, but will be taken down very low with the amount of damage they have on their team. The stuns coming in, and it's just Logitech running at them at this point.
Yeah, Weeb finding that ultimate as well on towards the Irelia. It was so strong in the early game, but one little bit of CC with the build that the Bad Fet has gone for, you are just going to be losing out. This one Dragon fight has really ballooned open to Logitech getting back into this game. Baron up and available for them. I Can Learn Macro does still have the smite available. There is a chance for it still, but with the amount of wards, it's going to be hard to do so.
Yeah, I Can Learn Macro going to try to get towards that wall. Cyclone going to come down 4k on the Baron, but will be burned, and very well played by the Logitech side. Don't even need the Amumu here to be able to smite that away.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to pick up that Baron for free. However, EDtech doing the best they can, pushing out the mid, pushing out the bot lane, make sure they don't have any waves for the start of their Baron, so at least a little bit has been wasted. There's 2-inch Prime picking up that bot lane tower, and this is the thing we talked about in the part of, well, at the start of the game, right? Of Logitech, huge amounts of damage. If they get towards the late game, they are just going to be stomping these team fights. And what have we seen? Logitech has got themselves towards the late game, and they're stomping these team fights. It's because EDtech doesn't have the amount of damage they need. The Bad Fet needs to find an amazing outplay on Irelia. Oh my god, cheese, even if they're free firing in this whole fight, Sai just doesn't have the same damage as Weeb on the Varus.
They have so much peel for the Varus as well, and they've been positioning it so well to stay out of their way of all of this engage from EDtech. They really need to find, you know, some sort of death bush here where they can get the Wukong and the Poppy on top of this Varus and just blow them up. But the vision line coming in from Logitech has been so solid. They just have been having eyes everywhere on the map, and it's been making it so hard for them to be able to actually play into this Varus.
And that was what Septimus Soul got himself, is the Umbral Glaive, an item that can just get rid of these wards in one auto attacks, even spots them for you. So in this situation, great vision already set up for Logitech. They're using the Baron towards this mid and towards the bot lane. It's a big engage from Amumu, maybe a little too much.
A little too deep from the Amumu. Now is an opportunity if they want to try to look for it. Look where the Wukong is. He has this massive flank going, but he's just constantly spotted out on these wards, and you can see how many of them are littered towards that bot side. Now, as the Mundo trying to find something, misses the Q onto Vet and will get stunned up, punched into the wall, but Septimus and the Varus just doing so much on top of all of the Victor's damage. Mundo just tanking up tower shots with that ultimate now. Cyclone available on the backline for Macro, but can't manage to get in.
And Mundo just walks in towards the enemy team. This was the concern I had earlier. If the Bad Fet can't stay far ahead of Drunkosi, he will get to a point where he's just unkillable. And that's what it feels like towards this mid lane. Oh my god, Cheese needs 4 items, needs that LDR before you can start thinking about dealing that damage. So with the last bit of their Baron, they will be able to pick up this mid lane tower. And yes, Logitech win themselves a team fight, but they haven't actually got that much for it. A few camps of the enemy jungle, 1 mid lane tower, and that's it. It all's going to come down to, again, this second dragon, or sorry, this 5th dragon. If this is taken out by EDtech, it's still going to be their sole point, while for Logitech, it's just another 5 minutes to scale to become that ultimate team fighting comp, which they've been dreaming about.
Yeah, and now it's just going to come down 30 seconds till this Drake vision line already being set up here. Stake not going to get spotted out by the Pantheon. But again, they just can't keep this vision anywhere towards the dragon. It's just being cleared so well by the side of Logitech. And 30 seconds now, the base is going to come through. So this is the time for Logitech, or for EDtech, to try to find a pick. But Varus is so very on his own here. Macro trying to see if he can get close enough, but can't manage to catch him. And they have managed to push him away. Pantheon ult committed as well on towards I Can Learn Macro, who actually left that fight. So now this could be huge for EDtech. Massive steadfast presence, or apologies, Poppy ult on towards the Amumu. Now they finally find a pick onto the Victor. Panny gonna go golden, but will be caught out. Drank gotta be coming in towards this backside as well, but the Gravity Well doing so much work and just keeping the members of EDtech locked up for a long period of time. Irelia ult is massive in the middle of this fight, but can they find the damage on towards this Varus now as they finally start to run towards him? But the Varus again, it's just free firing on towards this backside. They finally get onto it, but the flash away is perfect. Drank gonna be finally falling, and we've gotta die. Eventually, EDtech managed to win the fight.
And it was looking so good for EDtech at the start. They ult away the Amumu. They get themselves a team fight when they need. But it was so close near the end. Weave, if he was able to have 1 extra item, maybe a Runan's Hurricane, He could have been able to get through those tankier members, but instead EDtech get themselves that soul, and they're even tankier than before. Still, Logitech aren't fully out of it. They still have a great team fighting comp, but they need to be a little bit more conservative on how they play these fights. If they play front to back, there's no way they ever lose. But if there's no front line for Weeb, like at the end of that fight, they are just going to be losing out. So EDtech stop the Baron push that Logitech had earlier. Going to be able to steal away a few of these camps and get a lot of vision in towards the enemy jungle.
Yeah, finally they can start to set up their own vision, which is massive for them. And like you said, I think an extra item on that Varus, I think he cleans up that fight. I think he is doing so well in this game, and it is basically just protect the president. But when you get that Amumu ulted away, you lose one of those peeling members for this Varus, and eventually the fight will just go in the way of EDtech. But that's the first fight we've seen in the last little while of this game where EDtech have actually managed to find that advantage previous to the fight actually starting. Drank going to get caught out here. We'll see that he will lose his spell shield, but will be able to walk away.
And the important thing is, Hanning and we both don't have flash available, same for Oh My God Cheese XY. Still has that ultimate though, so there is some outplay potential on the side of EDtech, while on Logitech, if Galio flashes in, if Isla Macro flashes in, there's no way of them trying to stay safe. And I still disagree with Hanning picking up the Zhonya's in this position. However, this might be the make or break. If he's able to stay alive in one of these team fights, they should be in a very solid position.
Knock away, knocking the Amumu away from his team to stop that ultimate gun to come down. One massive Q here could be huge. And there it is. Galio was going to come in to follow it up, but the Aurelia is already dead. Icon Macro going to spin on towards that backside, trying to get that Varus knocked out, and will be able to do it. Septimus Soul now next on the chopping block by that Wukong, getting so much value. But now the Xayah is the one that's just getting the free hit in these fights. And like you said, that Zanya is not going to matter when you're being ran at by 4 members, and this could just be EDtech ending the game.
Yeah, I think they just end the game here. We needed an LDR coming out from Oh My God Cheese, and they don't get the full thing, but half of it is just enough with the Black Cleaver of I Learn Macro. It was a close 33-minute game, but it looks like EDtech will be coming up victorious here.
Yeah, EDtech finally ending their loss streak and will be taking a game down off of Logitech. And what a showing for both these two teams.
They needed 4 subs. That's nothing, right? Still, EDtech, very good job on getting yourself the victory. And honestly, that's the closest series we've had so far. Logitech versus EDtech, actually an exciting game. Could have really gone either way. But once that soul got taken, they just got too tanky. There was no way that Weeb was able to get through those damage sources. Varus very strong in the mid to early game. Once you get towards late, Xayah starts getting a little bit higher up. And with the Victor going for more of a defensive build, not having the damage to rip through those front lines, it was very clear that EDtech were going to be able to pick up the victory at the end. So a very big congratulations. And I know we usually don't do an MVP here, but we know too many of these players. So Heltic, who's your MVP for this game?
Even though they lost, I still think I need to give it to... if I have to give one for the winning team, I have to give it to Vet. I think he played that early game really well. He over-agreed it a little, but I still think Vet played incredibly well up towards this top side. But if I have to give an overall game, I honestly think Weeb should take the MVP for this game. He was doing so well in these fights to stay away from all of the engaged sources, but once they finally broke the peel machine for this Varus, it just didn't go their way. And and honestly, an honorable mention to I Can Learn Macro as well, because he turned it up towards the end of that game with those with the Cyclones.
Yeah, I was literally just about to talk about him. He did a fantastic job of using those Cyclones to get towards the backline, even one-shotting Weeb at some point in that last fight.
Yeah,
he may be a very good player, but with no flash available, like I mentioned, we're going in towards that backline. You have no defense. You are just going to be getting taken out. But Celtic, I've had a fantastic time. For my MVP, I'm going to give it towards Weeb. I know we didn't win. I think Weeb, you did a fantastic job, because really exciting thing about these players, the ones that we know, they even DM us afterwards being like, hey, could I have done this better? What should I do? And I know they love to watch this stuff. So anyway, Celtic, that is going to be it at us for Office Showdown. Of course, pilot series, if you did enjoy it, make sure to let us know. Anything you want to change, let us know. And gosh, I miss Sandbag, but it's been fun having you. And we'll see you guys, of course, next week on Tuesday for a bit more League of Legends. We'll see you then.